Could the world be on the brink of World War III in the next 3 years? It's an unsettling question, isn't it? But it's one we need to ask. Today we're going to explore that very question, probing the depths of global geopolitics, economics, and societal changes. We'll delve into the 10 potential triggers that could, unfortunately, lead us down a path towards a third global conflict in the near future. So, stay tuned as we dive into the 10 reasons that could be leading us to World War III. The first reason is the rising global tensions. Let's dive into this. We're seeing an escalation in conflicts and political disagreements across the globe. Major world powers, countries that have long been the pillars of international affairs, are at odds more frequently. This isn't just about territorial disputes or trade wars, it's about ideological differences that are becoming increasingly hard to reconcile. Consider the East versus West divide, the push and pull of democracy and autocracy, the clashing national interests that are becoming a daily headline. It's a high-stakes game of chess where a single wrong move could trigger a cascade of unfortunate events. These are not just isolated instances. They are part of a larger pattern, a global trend that's been years in the making. And it's not just the tensions themselves that are concerning, it's the rapid pace at which they're escalating and the potential they have to spiral out of control. These rising tensions could be the spark that ignites a global conflict. The second reason is the potential for a global economic collapse. Now let's not underestimate the power of money. It's the lifeblood of nations, and when it's in short supply or its value plummets, the consequences can be catastrophic. We're living in a world where economies are intimately interconnected. A severe downturn in one major economy can create a domino effect, leading to a worldwide financial crisis. We've seen it before, from the Great Depression of the 1930s to the financial crisis of 2008. These economic meltdowns led to social unrest, political instability, and in some cases, conflict. Governments, in their desperation to restore stability, might resort to aggressive tactics, both at home and abroad. In essence, a global economic collapse could breed the kind of desperation that fuels conflict. It can drive nations to extreme measures, including war, in an attempt to regain control and restore stability. Economic instability has often been a precursor to war. Our third reason is resource scarcity. Imagine a world where water, the most basic necessity for life, becomes a luxury. With rising global temperatures, water scarcity is becoming a harsh reality in many parts of the world. Now, combine this with the depletion of fossil fuels, the lifeblood of our modern industries. Countries are scrambling to secure their energy futures, and this scramble could potentially spark off confrontations. As the world's population continues to grow, the demand for these resources skyrockets, while the supply dwindles. This imbalance creates a fertile ground for conflict. Countries may be forced to make tough choices that could lead to disagreements, confrontations, and ultimately, war. Competition over resources is not a new phenomenon, but the intensity of this competition is reaching unprecedented levels. As we move further into the 21st century, this resource scarcity will only become more pronounced. As resources become scarcer, the likelihood of conflict increases. The fourth reason is technological advancements. We live in an era of rapid technological progress, where the boundaries of what is possible are pushed daily. This growth, while often a boon, can have a darker side, especially in the realms of military and cybersecurity. Let's consider the military first. We're seeing a rise in autonomous weaponry, drones, hypersonic missiles, and other high-tech military hardware. These technologies can escalate conflicts, making them more unpredictable and potentially more lethal. Then there's cybersecurity. As our world becomes more interconnected, it also becomes more vulnerable. Cyber attacks can cripple entire nations, disrupting infrastructure, finance, healthcare, and more. The battlefield is no longer just physical, it's digital too. And this digital warfare can be waged from halfway around the globe, making it easier for conflicts to spark and spread. These advancements, while impressive, also carry a significant risk. With new technologies, wars could become more destructive and widespread. The fifth reason is nuclear proliferation. Now let's delve into this alarming issue. In recent years, we've seen a significant increase in the number of countries acquiring nuclear capabilities. While these nations argue that nuclear weapons are crucial for their defense, the broader implications are far more concerning. Nuclear weapons, once the exclusive domain of the superpowers, are now within the reach of many more nations. Some of them are politically unstable or have aggressive foreign policies, which escalates the risk factor. This widespread access to nuclear weapons not only increases the likelihood of their use but also the chances of them falling into the wrong hands. Moreover, the concept of nuclear deterrence, which once maintained a fragile peace during the Cold War, is becoming less effective. This is due to the fact that more players are entering the nuclear stage, making the dynamics much more complex and unpredictable. The spread of nuclear weapons increases the risk of a global conflict. Indeed, the stakes have never been higher. The sixth reason is climate change. An invisible enemy, climate change poses a formidable challenge to global peace. As the Earth warms, ice caps melt and sea levels rise, forcing coastal communities to relocate. This mass migration can lead to conflicts as people compete for scarce resources and habitable land. Furthermore, changing weather patterns disrupt agricultural cycles, leading to food scarcity. Countries reliant on agriculture could face economic instability, sparking social unrest and potential conflicts. In regions where water is already a precious commodity, diminished rainfall and drying water sources could fuel territorial disputes. We've seen how dam projects on transboundary rivers have previously led to diplomatic tensions. Additionally, extreme weather events such as hurricanes, wildfires and floods can destabilize nations, stretching their resources thin and escalating tensions. So, the insidious creep of climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's a geopolitical time bomb, ticking towards a future where the struggle for survival could potentially ignite the fuse of conflict. Climate change could be a catalyst for global conflict. The seventh reason is the rise of nationalism and populism. These ideologies, fueled by the desire for self-determination and a return to traditional values and norms, are gaining traction worldwide. From the corridors of power in the West to the bustling cities of the East, leaders are leveraging these sentiments to consolidate power, often at the expense of global cooperation. Nationalism, with its emphasis on self-interest and sovereignty, can strain international relations, leading to disagreements and potential conflict. Populism, on the other hand, can breed discord within a nation, often polarizing societies along ideological lines and creating internal instability. Moreover, these ideologies can further exacerbate existing tensions between nations, making diplomatic resolutions more challenging. As countries prioritize their interests over global harmony, the likelihood of disputes erupting into full-blown conflicts increases. In essence, the rise of nationalism and populism ushers in a new era of uncertainty in international relations. Nationalism and populism could divide nations and escalate conflicts. The eighth reason is the ongoing global pandemic. This invisible enemy has not only exposed our vulnerabilities but has also increased global tensions. The race for vaccines and treatments has led to a kind of pharmaceutical Cold War, with countries competing rather than cooperating. This lack of unity could potentially escalate into larger conflicts. Moreover, the economic fallout from the pandemic is immense. As nations grapple with rising unemployment and shrinking economies, they may resort to aggressive strategies to recover, which could spark international disputes. Additionally, the pandemic has brought about an era of misinformation and conspiracy theories. This toxic mix of fear and misinformation can lead to mistrust between nations, further fueling tensions. Lastly, the pandemic has highlighted the stark inequities between nations, with richer countries having better access to healthcare and vaccines. This disparity could potentially breed resentment and conflict. In essence, the pandemic could be a powder keg for global conflict. The ninth reason is the rise of cyber warfare. Imagine a world where battles are not fought with bullets and bombs but with bits and bytes. Cyber warfare has emerged as a new and potent threat in the 21st century. Nations are investing heavily in developing sophisticated cyber weapons, capable of crippling an adversary's critical infrastructure. These cyber attacks could lead to real-world conflicts. Picture the chaos if a nation's power grid were to be taken down, or its financial systems incapacitated. It's a scenario that could easily escalate into a full-blown conflict. Cyber warfare is not confined to the realm of science fiction. It's happening right now. Our reliance on digital systems and the internet has made us vulnerable to such attacks. In the hands of a hostile nation, these digital weapons could be used to provoke, to destabilize, or even to initiate a war. Cyber warfare could be the new battlefield for World War III. The 10th and final reason is the shift in global power. For centuries, the West, especially the United States and Europe, have held the reins. Their influence has shaped our world, from politics to economics to culture. But we're witnessing a seismic shift, a tectonic movement of power from west to east. Countries like China and India are rising, asserting their influence on the global stage. China, with its economic prowess and strategic initiatives like the Belt and Road, is at the forefront of this shift. Meanwhile, India is leveraging its demographic dividend and technological advancements to make its mark. This shift isn't just about economics or politics, it's about identity, influence, and ideology. It's about who sets the rules and who follows them. As these Eastern powers rise, they challenge the status quo, creating opportunities for conflict. This friction, this struggle for control, could escalate into something much more damaging. This power shift could upset the global balance and lead to World War III. In conclusion, there are 10 potential triggers for World War III, from rising global tension to cyber warfare. It's vital for us to comprehend these risks and foster global peace. Stay updated with View Central. Subscribe for immediate alert on new insights.